I've been working so hard. I'm punching my card.
8 hours for what? And you told me you forgot?
I knew I could never succeed on the principles of telepathy. I needed to stimulate my brain. To the extent that I could detach thought from my conscious to give it a separate entity of its own. I concentrated on the simplest experiment, to turn the page of a book. I designed an instrument to create a sudden and powerful electrical boost to help me free my thought. But each application of the electric charge created a shock almost equal to electrocution. It made me ill. Dr. Bradley diagnosed exhaustion. He thought my illness was caused by overwork in getting my papers ready for publication. He introduced me to Barbara Grisel. With Barbara as my secretary, I was able to satisfy my publisher and continue my experiments to materialize thought. For a long time, I persisted in this one experiment without success. Until one night. The lightning in striking the house gave my instruments a sudden violent charge of power. And my thought was free. Free to turn the page of a book. I altered the design of my equipment to generate these violent power boosts. But it was very dangerous, and I could only undergo each experiment after a long period of rest. Whenever I felt well enough to absorb the shock, I found no difficulty in moving small objects. Eventually, I developed a certain tolerance to the high voltages I used. But what I really needed for regular experiments was a new form of power. Something that was smoother, something that would flow through my brain without causing collapse. The new atomic plant at the air base provided me with this power. I devised additional apparatus that enabled me to divert a portion of the atomic power that was radiating between the ground station and the radar aircraft circling 40,000 feet above. It was power which I could control, and I learned how to amplify my thoughts without hurting myself. I was able to detach my thoughts and allow them to work on their own. I began to devise a being into which the thought, once released, could enter and preserve itself for all humanity. I envisaged something akin to the human brain, with life and mobility, but without the limitations of man's body. I concentrated my entire thought on its creation. I succeeded, but like thought itself, it was invisible. That night I entered my laboratory. I entered my laboratory to take advantage of a radar test, only to find the place in shambles. My equipment wrecked beyond repair. All of my notes about its creation and how I thought it could be controlled were destroyed.
I knew now that I had created a fiend.
There was no other explanation. I was helpless, but whom could I tell? Who would believe such a fantastic story? I could sense the presence of the fiend, there in the room with me, growing more powerful with each succeeding day. My one desire was to destroy the thing, but I possessed no means of projecting my thought to do so. And I could hear it. Was it possible that there were more than one? I was unable to stop them. They were now drawing power from the atomic station. Its intelligence had expanded. It now knew how to make its escape. And then followed these horrible deaths and Gibbon's madness. I had to know what I had done. I had to see one of the bodies. I went to the mayor's tomb.
I now know that I have created a mental vampire.
A fiend that needs to drain the intellect to survive and multiply.
I'll get it. Supposing you're right, Professor, how does it live?
How else but in the brains and nerve centers removed from these people?
Then where are they and why can't we see them? This is nonsense.
We're facing a new form that nobody understands. I believe it feeds on the radiation from your atomic plant,
And that it's evil.
Professor, it's my opinion that the evil's all in your mind. You're in need of medical assistance. Ah, Doctor, I'm glad to see you're here. This man's become a raving lunatic.
Hey, what's going on out there? Hey, look!
Hello. Hello! Professor, what's wrong with your telephone?
Nothing should be the matter unless they've got enough intelligence to cut the lines.
Jeff, I want you to get over to the airbase. I want emergency patrols.
He's dead.
I'll give you a hand with this. Hey, quick, barricade that window.
Professor, have you got anything we can nail across that window?
There's none out in my laboratory.
I've got to get out. I've got to get out of this. Get him moving with us. What did he go to the door?
Hey, Captain, give me a hand.
If we'd only see them, we know what to do.
We're going to make them visible. I know. This question is the amount of atomic radiation that's available.
Hello. Hello, Casper. Casper, I want to talk to the colonel. Hello? Hello, Casper, are you there? Hello? Hello?
I'm gonna get out of here, I tell you.
No. Get a grip on yourself. Get a hold of yourself.